Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Monday night stream. I was unable to check audio today because of some issues, so if there's any problems with audio, be sure to let me know in the chat, although according to me it should be fine. Second, real quick, I want to address the name of the stream. Why do my fish keep dying? It's not my fish. I'm talking about everyone else's fish. It's why do your fish keep dying. But the reason I named it why do my fish keep dying is because that's what people are going to search for, right? If someone's losing a lot of fish, they're not going to go to Google or YouTube and say, why are your fish dying? So I want to welcome everyone who's coming over from Aquarium Co-op. I finally left. That's why I'm a little bit late today, hanging out in that stream all day. Lots of knowledge over there, way more knowledge than you're going to get here. But thanks for coming over. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today for a little bit. We'll get to some general Q&A in a bit. But if you'd like, be sure to share the stream out. Give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And we all would appreciate it. All right. So much STT. Seasoned tank something. Seasoned tank time. Seasoned tank time. I would have to agree or disagree. Obviously, one or the other. Real quick, so they were talking about TDS over there, which is total BS. Anyone who starts talking about TDS, so annoying, so annoying. I've been saying this for years. It's nice to see someone of Corey's magnitude repeating what I've been saying for years, and that TDS is kind of a dumb thing to chase. Anyways. Let's get right into why are your fish dying, and then I'd also like to hear your guys' experiences as well. Anything we can do to help people keep their fish alive. I'm not going to go in any type of order, but I did write a few things down. Seasoned tank titillation. I mean, it works. It works. TDS could be a number of good or bad things. Exactly. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because I'll start ranting as well. But, people you need 250 TDS at least for this type of shrimp. And I could just literally go take a dump in my tank and raise the TDS. Now I have a big turd in my tank, but I have my 250 TDS, so my shrimp should be alive, right? Anyways, not going to rant. Not here to rant about TDS today. More people still coming in. Holy smokes. Okay. Also real quick before we get started. UPSer, $1 super chat. Living the dream. Thank you. Also, Josh's World becoming a member a couple days ago. That's like my favorite thing ever, to get members when I'm not live streaming. Welcome, and welcome to the best members only content on YouTube. It's true. Okay, so why are your fish dying? Well, I think probably the number one reason, I mean, it's not even a probably, definitely uncycled aquariums. If you're new to the hobby and you keep buying fish over and over for like the first 6 months, that is why. If you don't know what the cycle is, definitely look up the nitrogen cycle. So I know we're 5 minutes into this video. If your fish are dying and you stuck it out for 5 minutes, look up the nitrogen cycle. You can get into this big trap of buying fish, keep killing them. You go back, buy more fish, then you completely empty your tank. You think there's something that's got to be wrong with the tank, which technically there is, but not for that reason. You empty it out, you clean everything, you scrub everything, fill it back up, and of course, you lost the cycle. Though you were already 75% through the cycle, and then after 2 months, you redid everything. So now you got to wait another 2 months. So definitely cycled aquariums. Robert says just bought a high guard light. Are they good lights? I have no idea. I've never heard of that brand. Ever. More STTs. Seasoned tank time. It isn't always the nitrogen cycle. Sometimes certain species don't adapt well to water conditions such as discus and waru. They can be hit in the head with the pH Yes, we'll get there. So it's not always nitrogen cycle. And as far as like the nitrogen cycle, like in a bottle, the bacteria in a bottle, don't rely on that stuff either. Bombarding Bob with his new favorite TLA. Yep, I appreciate it. Thanks. G-Bear, you almost got it right. Almost. Sorry to hear that you got that though. Anyways, have you used Hygger lights? Nope. So it's not always the nitrogen cycle that is right. But I do think that is by far the most common thing that's killing people's fish. You hear, especially being on YouTube, horror story after horror story of people, you know, the guy at the pet store said my water was okay. And, you know, let's be honest, a lot of people don't know. So get your own test kit. You're going to save way more money. You're going to spend $500 on fish in the first year killing and replacing fish, or you can spend $15 on some test strips. They work just as good as the liquid kits. The tank behind me never changes. Yeah, we keep it pretty well maintained. And yeah, don't forget to hit the like button, folks. Hit the like button. Another thing I want to talk about as far as why fish are killing is kind of controversial, especially lately when everyone has now seen how much Cory feeds, and that's overfeeding. I feel like this is used a lot as far as an excuse, but it's not actually accurate. There's definitely some fish you can overfeed, just like, you know, there's lots of reptiles that'll just keep eating and eating and eating until they die. So there's definitely those kind of fish as well, but more importantly, I don't think it's overfeeding. I think it's probably stale food. You know, I see this a lot where people buy like this big, I don't have any here now, but they buy like this big canister of food for like their 20-gallon tank, and they say, oh yeah, I can buy this one thing and it lasts like a year. Well, the food is not going to last a year. You know, the food goes stale, it goes bad. Then you're feeding food to your fish that basically has no nutrients, no quality at all. It's basically like eating paper at that point. There has to be a reason to overfeed, like breeding, but you have a lot of plants. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's way too subjective to just say, oh, you're overfeeding. You have to be a complete idiot to lose that many fish in your first year. I do not agree. What if, because I didn't say an amount. I just said $500. What if you spent $300 on one fish? What if you bought, I hope no one does this, but what if your first fish is like I don't know, what's $500? Like a stingray? You lose one fish, there's $500. We could talk about my preferred foods if you want, but I would highly recommend people don't get into the trap of buying like a big canister of food and then feeding that for like a year. All right. It's just, I mean, man, can you imagine buying a Doritos and like eating it for a year? It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. So, and again, overfeeding is subjective. So people see Cory's videos and they're freaking out that he's overfeeding. What was it? Like the Rummy Nose Tetra tank where he has 250 Rummy Nose and he's dropping like handfuls of flake food. Well, the thing you got to remember is that tank is on auto water cycle or auto water changes. So you could dump like an entire can of fish food in your tank if you want to, if you're also going to be doing the water changes, right? It's not going to hurt anything. It's 550 Rummy Noses actually. Oh, excuse me. I thought it was 250 in each one. Is it 500 in each one? I don't know. But the reason I talk about this is because I have like the Tetra Color granules. They went on sale on Amazon for like $3 like a year ago, and I bought a kabillion of them, and now they're all bad. Like you can open them up and you can smell them, and they smell like cardboard. They don't smell like anything, like styrofoam. Whereas if you take a fresh can of those color granules and open it up, you're like, yeah, that's fish food. But so yeah, do not feed stale fish. And another thing I see a lot of people do is mixing the wrong type of fish. And one thing that kills me, this might get a little ranty, or elitist. I don't know. I'm certainly not an elitist. I kill my fair share of fish, but when I see people online giving advice, and then I look at their tanks and see like Oscars with African cichlids, angels, and they have like this just hodgepodge of fish. Like, obviously, fish are gonna die in this scenario. And when I see these people giving advice, I'm like, ugh, you should not be giving advice. But anyways, I don't want to rant too much about that because that's kind of jerky thing to do. But the moral of the story is, don't mix fish that shouldn't be mixed together. I saw this, and it's not a knock. I'm not trying to, like, I mean, we were all new. We've all done this. I have a bala shark that I never should have bought way back years ago when I first got into the hobby, or back into the hobby. I was like, ooh, I always liked bala sharks as a kid. I'm going to get a bala shark. So I bought a bala shark, and I've had it ever since. And I know it's terrible. They're schooling fish. They need to be in groups. But the reality is, no matter where I send that bala shark, it's not going to be taken care of because nobody has 400-gallon, 500-gallon tanks with schools of bala sharks. I mean, bala sharks can get like 18 inches or larger. So, yeah, I made a mistake. But I do my best to keep it happy now. But I'll never be able to, like, give it what it should. Like, I mean, if I ever got, like, a 10,000-gallon tank with, like, 20 bala sharks, that would be amazing. That'd be super awesome. But yeah, so obviously you can get into like researching fish as well, but like mixing it's just be aware, research your fish. And like I said, I saw somebody post the other day that had an Erotis, and they're like, is this fish killing all my other fish? My fish are disappearing. And if you're that person that asked this question and you're in this live stream, this is not like, I'm not coming down on you at all. Like I said, I've done it. We've all done it at some point. But mixing the wrong type of fish, absolutely, your Erotis is killing everything. They would kill you in the middle of the night if they could get out of their tank. All right, they're killers. That's what they are. Or Erotis, I don't know if I'm even saying. Am I not saying it right? I don't know. If it was up to me, that fish would not even be in the hobby. So, yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an African cichlid. It's an Mbuna, and they just hate life. They hate everything about life. And thank you, Cheryl Fenning, for becoming a member again. I appreciate it. White cloud minnows eat newborn shrimplets. Oh, for sure. Erot ass. I don't know. Shouldn't be in the hobby. Oh, man. I think I just swore on my live stream. Good job, Kevin. Good job. You made me swear. The Crazy Nut says, I went on a vacation for a weekend and lost over 70 fish. Keep in mind I have 17 tanks. The fish were poisoned by not rinsing soap off their hands. Your hands or their hands? That's something that I think none of us think of. Like, I used to never think of that. Sometimes I would wash my hands because I want my hands to be clean when I'm getting in the tank. And this was like years ago. And I never even thought about like, wait a minute, all this like antibacterial stuff, all this like weird film now is all on my hands and I'm reaching into aquarium. So I stopped doing that. I don't wash my hands at all. I'm sure there's still probably things on my hands, but I don't. Aquarium Co-op says, this is why I don't shower. No chance of getting soap in my tanks. Exactly. Now, I did find like this new soap that's actually like real soap. A lot of soap you buy in the store is not like real soap, and it's very nice. It's very nice. It smells really good. It my skin is nice and soft. But anyways, we don't need to go there. That's kind of weird. Rubber lips like cool water, not over 76. That is true. Pine tar? No, not pine tar. It's pine something. How are you not a member anymore? Only you can answer that, Priscilla. Only you. I don't know why. I don't know. Did you like prepay your last membership and ran out? I don't know. Did you get a new debit card? That's the main thing that people forget. They get a new debit card, get a new number. I don't know. I make my own soap, and it's only 4 ingredients. There you go. If I use organic soap with less harmful stuff, lemon squeezy, lemon squeezy. Anyways, so yeah, that's something I probably would have never mentioned. So I'm sorry that you lost all those fish, but it's a very good thing. And this is the kind of thing I like to see when we're talking about this right now. Is like, you know, in your experience, what happened to you? What went wrong with you? One of the worst things is when just one fish dies and everything else is just fine. You test the water, everything's looking pretty good, and you just, you know, sometimes you just can't explain it. I lost an animal last week that was kind of sucked, but you know, it just happens. It just happens. Sometimes you just don't get an answer. Kim Wolf, welcome to the Dream Team. Dream Team. I think I only need like 8 more. Only 8 more. I got some fork-tailed rainbows, added them to my tank, and they all died and had internal parasites, and they are killing my angels. Well, if you've got it narrowed down, at least you know what is killing your angels and how to treat it. All right. I mean, there's so many diseases that like I could like just spend 2 hours like this disease is killing your fish. This is killing your fish. Velvet, ick, dropsy, whatever. It's important to be aware. Like, look at your fish every day. You should be looking at your fish when you feed them. I understand that not everyone can do this like every single day. Like, you just drop in food, you're busy, you're late for work, you drop in the morning food and you're out the door. But when you're feeding, this is the best time to take a look at your fish and see if something's wrong. I will say that furcadas, Pseudomygale furcata is a fork-tailed rainbow, and they are. I don't want to say that they're a sensitive fish, but rainbows in general, they're not sensitive. But if you miss like a water change, or if something changes drastically, or not even drastically, like just a little bit, things can go wrong with Pseudomygale furcatas really fast. What's another one? Like the Celebes rainbow, same way. They just want clean water. It doesn't matter really what the pH is, what the TDS is. TDS, I swear. Anyways, they just want clean water. That's it. And what I want to transition that into is something that I was hanging out at Aquarium Co-op this week. Got myself a dream fish of mine. And going back Thursday for some more fish. See, the problem is I do have these wholesale accounts, but they never get good fish at these wholesale accounts. It's always like the cookie cutter fish. Aquarium Co-op, actual local, like physical businesses, they have access to the good wholesalers and can get the good fish. So yeah, that's why I'm buying fish at Aquarium Co-op. And because their fish are awesome and amazing. And Robert does a really good job at that store. Anyways, I forgot what I was talking about before I went on that little tangent. Oh yeah, so I was at Aquarium Co-op, and there was a lady in there, and she was chasing pH. She's like, I just cannot get my pH to be right. She's talking about like, what is it, API, or someone makes like pH down or Tetra, I don't know. One of those phony companies, pH down or pH up. Probably some of the worst products you could ever buy. I should probably look up who I'm trashing before I trash them. pH down. Somebody in chat will tell me, hopefully. pH up, pH down. No, that's not it. API. There you go. API. This stuff is insanely toxic. If you overdose by a little bit, you can kill everything. This is why I hate these types of products. Man, not CCAM. Yeah, it's API. Anyways, so I met a subscriber years and years and years ago who told me a story about how he was measuring, he was using pH down, but he was using it like over his tank with the lid off. And like it came out in like this clump, was like so you take your bottle and there was like, it's like a clump of it here. So it's pouring out really slow. And then all of a sudden like that clump made it through and just splashed down in the tank and like melted his fish within seconds. Like, no time for a water change, no time for anything. He's like, he described it as like pouring acid on your fish. Like, they just melted. And man, chasing pH is so unimportant. To me, getting the right pH is about as important as TDS. Consistency is what you want in pH. You don't want to chase pH. You just want it to be consistent. And that's way more important. And I know this from personal experience. Priscilla, welcome back to the Dream Team. I don't know why you're not a member, but you are now. So there you go. And Connie, welcome. Connie Houston, welcome to the Dream Team. The Dream Team. The best members only. There's some really good videos in the members only content. You should check them out. So I know that chasing pH is not correct. Stable pH is correct because I am breeding Parasiprochromis, the blue neon Parasiprochromis in Seattle tap water. I don't add crushed coral. I don't add any type of products to raise pH. My pH is about 6.8 out of the tap, and these are Lake Tanganyika fish that are like 8.8, 9.0 pH in Lake Tanganyika, right? Super high pH. Now, granted, I've been working on this line for about 5 years, but it's consistent, it's stable. Whenever I want to get fry, all I have to do is just start pumping them full of food, and I'll get fry. That's it, and they'll just right out of my tap water. It's the same thing with my multis, my shell dwellers. Another Lake Tanganyika fish that wants like 9 pH, breeding in my Seattle soft water. Now, it wasn't like I took these fish out of Lake Tanganyika and just dumped them in Seattle water, right? That's not probably a smart thing to do. I would not recommend that. Over the course of the years, they have adapted to my Seattle water. So one of the things that made this hobby easy for me is to stop chasing what the fish, stop chasing what the fish want, stop chasing what the plants want, because there's some plants like a hellfry that want like a really hard water, high pH. I just don't grow those plants. If they don't, when I'm buying plants, if they don't grow in my water, then they die and I don't buy them again. But fish is a little bit different. So if I get fish from like Lake Tanganyika, I gradually over the course of like 6 to 8 weeks lower the pH down to my tap water. So I'll start off at that 9, and then like every water change, it'll drop a little bit more, and then after a little bit, after 6 8 months, we're right at like 7 pH. The water gets a little softer, and eventually they're just right in that stable pH, and now I can just dump water straight out of the tap. No issues. So I think chasing pH it causes an immense amount of stress. And outside of an uncycled tank, I feel like stress is probably the biggest killer by far. Eric Furlow with the $5 super chat. Thoughts on shell dwellers with Congo tetras? You're going to end up with a lot of nipped fins. So even in a tall tank, generally at night, they'll kind of float down to the bottom to like sleep. And as soon as you get next to those dude shells, they're going to get nipped. I would probably find a tetra that didn't have like the longer fins like that. It's definitely possible. I kept Cyprochromis. I kept Cyprochromis with my multis without any problems. The thing with Cyprochromis, though, is they'll like at night, they'll like back up against the glass and just kind of go vertical and kind of sleep like that. They don't just like go right down on top of the shell. So you're going to want like a fish that's just not going to at night drop down on the shells, because they will go after them, especially if they're breeding. Yep. And Fishy Philosophy, welcome to the Steen Dream Team. Whew. How many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. All right. PSC Painting. It's Matthew. Can't get my regular count, so I'm on my other one. Quick story. I was dosing General Cure for 2 weeks by accident instead of erythromycin and was wondering why my cories weren't healing. Yikes. I guess that would be an important lesson. Thank you for the $10 save. What are you doing? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Definitely know your medicine and what you're feeding. Don't chase pH unless you have to chase pH. I don't know. Like, is there a single fish? I don't think there's a single fish I've kept that hasn't adjusted. You know, oh, you found your bone, huh? That hasn't adjusted over time. My dogs find it necessary to play in this room as soon as I go live. Are the pups being stinkers? Yeah. I don't know. I think they just hear me talking and that means they get rowdy. I don't know. As far as like chasing pH, yeah, I don't think that there's a single fish I've ever kept that I haven't been able to get adjust. As long as you don't do it quickly, you do it over time, and then once you're at where you want to be, you keep it consistent. Now, there's some fish that you need to chase pH if you're trying to breed. Like, there's certain apistos that'll you can trigger to spawn if you drop it to like 4 pH, things like that. But we're not talking about those kinds of people, right? If you're that hardcore, you know what you're doing. You're not going onto YouTube trying to figure out why your fish are dying. Bob, please tell me you got that cichlid from the orphan tank. No. I left that night. Like, we filmed 3 videos. We were there for a couple hours. And by the time we were done, I completely forgot about it. I went back last Thursday and helped with an unboxing. So I didn't film it, not for my channel. It's for the second Aquarium co-op channel. So I'll be on more Aquarium co-ops. More Aquarium co-op, I think. I think it's for the second channel, but I don't know. But I filmed an unboxing. Well, I didn't film. Jimmy filmed it. Robert unboxed it. I unboxed one box just for some fun. And I happened to be there picking up my dream fish when the packages came in. So I was like, hey, I want to unbox one. So anyways, no. When I went back last Thursday, that fish was gone. It was a super awesome fish. Somebody commented on what it was, but I already forgot. I mean, it was a Central American cichlid. But do you know if someone has successfully breeding coolie loaches? Do you know why it's so difficult to breed them? I have never ever looked into breeding coolie loaches, but I know we could find out maybe quickly. That big tank like that with plenty of surface area, bala sharks. I don't know, how big are you talking? I've never seen a bala shark kept correctly, including myself, as I said earlier. All right, let's see. Reproduction. No reports of breeding in the hobby. Coolie loach. There you go. T-Bone says, "G'day, Bob. I'm new to your site. Well, welcome. Take a look around. I hope you like it. I have no experience with avocado puffers. There is one more thing I want to talk about as far as why your fish are dying. Maybe two. It wasn't Cryptoheros. I've kept a few different Cryptoheros in my time. Anyways, so something I want to talk about, and this relates specifically to like goldfish, is water temperature. There's a lot of fish that can go a lot colder than your standard 78 degrees, but there's a lot of fish like goldfish that don't like warmer temperatures. And we might see people here tonight say, I keep my goldfish at 80 degrees just fine. This specifically goes to goldfish because I see this the most when it comes to goldfish, and people saying exactly that. Like, my goldfish lived 5 years. It was perfectly fine. And I kept it at 78 degrees, no problems. Except that goldfish should be living way more than 5 years. So I think it's a weird argument to make. Like, my goldfish lived 6 years and it was perfectly happy. Well, then why did it die? Like, you know, if it was in colder water, it'd probably still be alive. Anyways, that's just one of those things that I could rant about again. I hear it all the time. Dogs see your attention, go to something else, and they want it. My new dog, when I pet my old dog, goes crazy. It's so funny. So funny. Ooh, I see a rainbow question. Hey, Bob, I ordered 12 Chilothrina alani from Siriwo for 55. Is that overstocked? Nope. Not at all. Chilothrina in a 55 is perfect. Not as good as a 75, so I guess it's not perfect. But a 55 is just fine. A 55 is good for 12 of just about any rainbows, to be honest. I mean, yeah. What else? So temperature, there was one more thing. Oh, and keeping them in too small. This goes to like bowls, like keeping goldfish. Again, harping on the goldfish people. Keeping goldfish in bowls. Whew. Yeah, Aqua Discovery, perfect. I keep my goldfish at 90 and they're fine. And I think, you know, I don't want to like bring down another YouTuber, but there was another YouTuber who was keeping goldfish, and this is like the perfect example. They were keeping them in a garage. It got a little too warm, and all their goldfish died. And I'm not talking like warm as in like 100 or 90. Yeah, so goldfish like it cold. What's the best substrate for goldfish? So I am far from a goldfish expert. That being said, I wouldn't use any substrate that could fit in its mouth and get stuck. So depending on the size of the goldfish, like if you have substrate, I would probably do like, I did sand. I never really had any issues. If you did gravel and it's like, it's large enough that they could get in their mouth, but large enough for them to like spit it back out or get stuck, or I don't know. I'm not an expert at goldfish to use gravel. So if it was me, I would make it easier and either do like bare bottom or sand. I don't know. So this is like another myth. You know, the fish only grow to the size of your tank. It's not true. It's just not true. Technically, I think what happens is, I remember researching this a long time ago, is that while yes, you can stunt the growth of a fish, but the organs keep growing, and this is why they die. So, like their body stays the same size, but their organs keep growing to what size their body is supposed to be. So when you keep fish in too small of tanks, they're going to die. That myth is so dumb. Goldfish are abused and also invasive and proliferate at a highly successful rate. That is true. That is true. How cold is cold for goldfish? Well, a lot of people keep goldfish year-round outside, so they can go pretty cold. And the trick is to not feed them when it's cold. All right, we got a list here from Ryan. We're just going to say Ryan at Mr. Canadian Gaming. Oxygen deficiency, too much ammonia, too much nitrates, temperature, too hot, too cold, clutterness. You know, that's a good one. Clutterness, we didn't talk about this. This is a really big one in rainbow fish, especially like during feeding time. Like rainbow fish go crazy. Like all these branches around here in this tank are all potential killers for rainbow fish. It's not to say that you can't do it. I mean, I have plenty of hardscape in my rainbow fish tanks, but it's a possibility that one of them is just going to dart right into these and bust its mouth open, you know, hit it, crack an eyeball, pop an eyeball out. Rainbow fish are dumb. They're not smart. One of the things that Gary Lang talks about a lot is when you have like tanks lined up and you feed one fish, you know, or one fish tank, and then fish from over here see it, and they'll just dart right over and go smash right into the glass. It's true. This happens to me. I've seen it. So they're not the smartest thing. So clutterness, definitely. If you have wood, make sure it's not toxic or it contains toxic sap, and chlorine to finish off that list. That's a good list. Oxygen deficiency, though, I think a lot of people run to that way too fast. When they see fish just clasping, you know, like breathing heavy at the surface. I came across this the other day in a Facebook group. I don't know which one, but every single cichlid was like at the surface after a water change. And especially after a water change, you're definitely not going to have low O2 after a water change. I mean, the water's splashing down, fresh water to begin with. more likely there's some sort of toxin or something in that water. This happened to me probably about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where I did water changes and lost a ton of fish in all my different tanks. They were all like just trying to breathe at the surface because they're trying to get fresh air, not necessarily oxygen, but like fresh air, because there's something in the water. And that same day, later, I went to my local fish store, and it was a massacre in there too. He did water changes in all his tanks too, and like killed off half of everything in his store. So there was definitely something in the water, and I think while yes, there could be oxygen deficiencies, but after a water change, I find it very hard to believe. And if your fish are like breathing at the surface, I would, if it happens to me again, I'll take them out of the tank. I'll put them in a tank that I didn't do a water change in, but I basically what happened, I did the water change, filled it back up, and I was like, what is going on? And the first instinct was, better do a water change again. But I'm just pumping more of whatever is in the water. Here in Seattle, where I'm at, after like a huge rain, they'll dump extra chlorine in the water, and sometimes you can actually smell it. Like, it's so concentrated, you can actually smell it. So yeah, definitely be aware of that. There's, I don't know, he contacted the water company. I don't know if anything ever came from it, but yeah, be mindful of your water, definitely. And chlorine was on that list too, as last on the list. Dechlorinate your water. Dechlorinate. My phone. Oh, your USB is getting disconnected. Okay, I turned that sound off. Sorry. I've been trolling you guys for 40 minutes with the USB sound. There's one USB port in my desktop out of like, I don't know, there's probably like a dozen USB ports that doesn't get enough power. And so if something else kicks on, like a fan or something, it'll drop power to that USB port. And I'm pretty sure it's the USB port that's defective, but yeah. Normally I silence that before the stream, but I forgot to this time. But Aquarium Co-op says, it was trolling me. I kept trying to figure out what device had that was bugging out. All right, never mind. I did that on purpose. I had a Danio. So actually, here, this is another thing that's happened to me. I had a Danio jump out of the tank, but he landed in a 1 gallon with Val and some water. And a Tetra live in a tank with no filter, no heater for 2 months. The fish can be crazy hardy. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a story I don't like to say because it makes me look like an idiot. But I don't know what I was doing. I was changing like tanks around. I think I replaced 40 gallon an old 40 breeder with a new one because the seals were looking kind of haywire. So I was like, better get a new one. And I take out all the decorations, put them in a 5 gallon bucket, take out all the fish, put them in a separate 5 gallon bucket. And then took the tank off, put the new tank on, fill it with water, substrate, put the decorations back in, put the fish back in, took the buckets and put them outside in the garage. And I didn't use the buckets again for at least a month. And when I went back out there, the bucket with the decorations had a little baby Apisto in it that was living outside of my garage in winter for at least a month. I don't know how it survived, but it did. And I was like, holy smokes, I'm an idiot. So they can definitely be pretty durable, but they can also be like, uh-oh, a leaf fell off that plant, I'm just gonna die. So there's those fish too. It goes both ways. But fish jumping out during a water change. I've had this happen more than I care to admit, especially with hatchet fish. The worst culprits was bloodfin tetras. Holy smokes. The very first time I did a water change on my bloodfin tetra tank, I lost like 5 of them. And I remember going and looking like, what the heck? Where'd all my bloodfins go? Because I only had 25, so missing 5, it was pretty easy to sell. And I found 4 of them on the floor, like behind the tank and off to the side. And, I have lids on all my tanks, so the only time they could have jumped out is when I did a water change. And then like the next week I go to do my water change, and one actually jumped out while I was like holding the python there. I'm like, Holy smoke. So now, one, I'll probably never get bloodfin tetras again because those dudes are psychos. Absolute psychos. Like, they just want to die. Like, crazy. Going kamikaze out the tank left and right. But now I'm always mindful, especially with rainbows, because rainbows are jumpers. They're not kamikaze like bloodfin, but whew, be careful when you're doing water changes. You know, a lot of times, like I used to, let's like when you're going so fast, you don't really pay attention, and you like just drop it in there, and it bangs on something, and your fish get scared and they jump out. So just be mindful of that. That's a mistake that I've made, you know, in my fish keeping career. What's the maximum dose for dechlorinator? Triple, quad, recommended? Whew. I don't know that I want to give out any kind of advice on that. 'Cause I don't want to say like, oh, you could do one. I don't know what kind of dechlorinator you're talking about. Obviously, there's like different. I mean, how many different brands are there? But I'm not going to be the guy that says, oh, it's safe to do 100 times dosage. And then you come back and you're like, dude, you killed all my fish because you told me 100 times dosage was all right. I'll leave those kind of questions to the manufacturers. If you want to go to like CChem and like post a question on their, I don't even know if they have social media, you email them, you know, I'm not going to be responsible for that. Jess Phillips, welcome to the Dream Team, as well as David. And I want to address something here, maybe if I can quickly find this. Let's see. So I want to go to my channel. Hopefully this doesn't start automatically playing a video. Oh, I turned the sound off anyway, so it doesn't matter if it did. And I want to go to here. Go to here. Just waiting for it to load. Bear with me 1 second. All right. So Jess made a comment on my last video. It says, she said, I don't know why I just called you it, but she said, great video. However, it was really off-putting how many times she got cut off mid-conversation. Seems really disrespectful, and I don't know that he was even aware of doing it, which I wasn't. And then I replied, I 100% agree. When I was editing the video, I couldn't believe how many times I did it and apologized to her right away. And it was true. I was sitting here editing this video, and I've never done it like so blatantly bad so many times in a video, and I'm editing this, and I almost didn't even put out the video. That's how bad it is. And this is in the last Aquarium Co-op tour video. And that doesn't even count all the times that it happened in the video. That doesn't even count all the times that I cut out. So there was like 3 of them that I completely cut out of the video. I'm like, that segment's gone. Those fish are not going to be in the video. It was bad. It was bad. And I don't know what it was. Like, maybe I had too much soda. I did have some soda out of their machine, a little too much sugar. Maybe there's too many like shiny things like, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. I don't know, but it was really bad. And I did apologize. And I actually talked about it in my last members only video. Like, not going to interrupt anymore. So definitely something I wanted to work on. It was not intentional. It was not meant as like being disrespectful, but I did want to address it because it was disrespectful and it was really bad. It was bad. Like, if you already watched that video, go back and watch it again. You'll see how many times I did it. It was bad. It was really bad. But anyways, I appreciate that kind of constructive criticism. Like if something's in my video and you don't like, or something, you know, something happens, a lot of people in this day and age are just like, oh, you're in, you know how people are these days. They go crazy. But that was very nice. It was constructive, and I appreciated it. And yeah, that's how I wish all criticism was done. Danny says, video shine a light on all my bad habits. Yeah, I mean, we all have bad habits, but that's like, whew, that was something else. Yeah, and Jimmy was there, and we were, you know, I'm not trying to make excuses, but there was like Jimmy and I were having conversations while I was filming and having a conversation with Danny, which obviously does not make for a good video either. So next time it'll be better. We're going to be doing another fish room tour of her tent here pretty soon. And it's definitely going to be on my mind. Like, I've never seen that happen in any of my other videos. Maybe like once in like a 10-minute video, or twice. When, you know, sometimes like it's just bound to happen, right? Like, you're filming a tank, and then all of a sudden, like, you're talking, and then some like cool pleco comes out, and you're like, oh, look at that. You know, that stuff, that's all right. But this was like blatantly like, she's talking, and I'm like, hey, Jimmy. Like, I don't know. It was really bad. I still feel bad about it. Audrey, welcome, welcome, welcome. A lot of members tonight. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. I want to find your comment. You could definitely tell that your mind was going a million miles a minute. Yeah, that was probably the first time I've had soda. Again, not making excuses, but I think I actually had 2 sodas. Way more sugar than I'm used to. Ginger Grave says, please pan slower. You know what, Ginger? This is also something I've been trying to work on. But I haven't done like tour videos in a long time, and I've just started doing them again. So there's like things that I have to like relearn. But it's funny you mentioned that because somebody actually made the comment of, thanks for taking the time to show all the tanks and not just blowing through all the tanks very quickly. So it's just funny how you get like different people's perspectives. Like clearly this person that made this comment watched one of my videos like 3 years ago where I'm just like, man. Mickum says, a friend of mine says he got coolie loaches many years ago. Fry from coolie loaches. It happened once. Got to ask him about it. He has bred at least 300 species. Yeah, you should definitely ask him. So when I want to know if a fish has been bred, first of all, the only place I go to is Seriously Fish. And it's not because it's accurate. It's not because they know everything. It's not because they're right all the time. It's because it's one of the sites that has like every single fish you could ever imagine. And so if you go there and type in coolie loaches, it just says several vague reports, but no solid information like photographs or anything like that. So there's like anecdotal, like, hey, there's baby coolie loaches in my aquarium. It's not, doesn't seem to be anything like I bought coolie loaches, to breed them, and this is how I did it. Usually, like that's what they want when they talk about has it been bred in the hobby before, not like pure happenstance, like something bred in a community aquarium and now there's fry somewhere. So if he actually like took coolie loaches and just specifically bred them and they bred, then that would be pretty cool. And he should have his name on this section on Seriously Fish. I'm sure I could. There's some loach dude, like super loach nerd dude. I think from Germany. I could be wrong. Who's bred like 100 different species of loaches, probably even more. I'm sure like I could email that guy and be like, hey, has anyone done this? But I could just spend 5 seconds, go to Seriously Fish, kind of get a general answer. Like sometimes if I look at a fish and if it's been bred, I can go to Seriously Fish and there's like a giant page about it being bred. I'm like, okay, clearly this has been bred in the hobby. That should be a Dean project. Oh man. The thing is, here's the thing. Coolie loaches are awesome, but nobody wants to catch them, and definitely nobody wants to catch fry. Like the adults are hard enough to catch. Can you imagine a coolie loach that like a 20th of the size of the adult, like trying to catch it? Screw that noise. No, thank you. Audrey says, when I drink Diet Coke, I drive my husband crazy because I constantly interrupt him. I think it's the caffeine. So I do drink lots of caffeine. Like I've never had coffee in my life. I don't drink soda. Well, obviously I can't say that. I mean, I probably have soda. Like, I think the only time I have soda is when I'm hanging out with Corey. Because for some reason, he hardly ever has water, but he always has Diet Coke. So I just drink Diet Coke. Well, to be fair, last time he did have some water. But I like soda. I have nothing against it except for the like pounds and pounds of sugar that's in every single one. Danny says, I don't mind catching them. I caught a bunch today. You just need to know how. I definitely don't know how. Oh, it's so frustrating. When I first opened up my website, I sold coolie loaches, and oh man, there's nothing worse than like packaging up 20 boxes of fish and then being on your last order and it's coolie loaches. And I'm like, ugh, man, this is going to take forever. The other one is Hillstream loaches. Borneo sucker loaches, though, super easy to catch. Reticulated Hillstream loaches, pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Trying to catch live noodles. Yeah. All right, what else do we have going on here? Rock, substrate, and scoop. Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Like, obviously, I could just, like, it's not ideal is what I'm trying to say. Like I could scoop down and get up like a net of sand and a coolie loach, but then trying to dig that coolie loach out to get it into a bag to ship. Like if I was just at a fish store and you're going straight home, I don't care if there's sand in the bag. I don't care if a little gravel gets in the bag. But when you're shipping over a couple days, I don't want anything in the bag. I don't want anything that can cause any type of problem, no matter how low of odds. Like, what are the odds like a little bit of sand is going to cause me issues? I don't know. It only needs to happen once for me to lose money. That's the thing. Like if I have to reship, then I lose money. You need a bare bottom and one whole cave decoration. All the coolie loaches hide in the cave. See? Now that's a strategy. If I ever sell coolie loaches again, I'm going to do that exact same thing, because that seems very smart. Hill stream loaches are the worst to catch. Yep, that's one of the reasons. So it's not the only reason. The other reason I stopped selling coolie loaches and hill stream loaches is because they always come in as a different species. It doesn't matter what scientific name the wholesalers list them as. It's always a different species, a mix of different species. Very rarely do I ever get a bag of that specific species that they say it is. So, you know, most people don't care, but there are people that do care. What are you doing? And why are you behind me? Hey. Hey. I don't like it when you're behind me. I don't know what you're doing, but you're making noise and getting in trouble. All right. My hillstream roaches are like roaches. Hillstream loaches are like rockets. Yeah. All right. So Sarah Lynn Snow says, can I move my filters, substrate, and water and it still be cycled? Can I move into and water into it and still be cycled? Yes and no. There is a chance that you could lose your cycle. You're definitely going to lose beneficial bacteria, but are you going to lose enough to lose your cycle? I mean, you never really know. Never really know. Can we see the pups? They don't really like to cooperate. Especially this guy. Get up here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, he's too big. Oh, look at that big head. Hey, look this way. Look this way. Oh, look at that big head. Oh, look at that big head. Oh, I love this guy. He's such a blockhead. There you go. Look how big his head is compared to mine. All right. All right, I've embarrassed you enough in front of your friends. My other one is sleeping right now, so I'm not going to wake him up. See, now he just wants to play. What is she doing back there? I never know. Anyways, be smarter than the loach. No, that's not me. Man, although I am learning, I am actively learning, but I'm still not smart. I love German blue rams, but at the same time, they are the bane of my aquarium existence. So, Eric, actually, did you super chat me earlier and did I completely ignore it? I feel like you did, but it's not on my list. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, I didn't ignore it. Shell dwellers on Congo tetras. All right. Anyways, it's one of those fish that you really need a good source for. And I'm not saying that you're buying at Petco or PetSmart, but that's probably not the best source for those kind of fish. They're insanely hardy fish. I have a really good source for those fish. And, man, it's been like, I did something really stupid, and I thought in one of my tanks that I didn't have any fish left in it. And so I took out the filter, the sponge filter, moved it into a different tank, and that tank just sat there for months. And then it's on my rack. So, you know, just sitting there unused. And I was like, okay, I got some more fish. I got to use this tank. Threw a filter back in there, and there was a ram in there, a German blue ram. Still alive. It's one of those things, like, it's so easy to be in a hurry and try to get stuff done. And every once in a while, I just need to, like, slow down, make sure there's nothing left in these tanks, take a minute. But I don't know. I'm really bad at that. I hope I'm not the only one. I probably am, though. Big fan of your, oh, Ocean Truth says, Danny does life. Big fan of your setups. Love the joint summer tubbing projects with Bob. Looking forward to seeing the fish shack you're working on in the future. Yeah, we got a sneak peek in the last members only video. It's actually, I think everything was filmed at her house. You got a walkthrough of the tubs at night, the shed. Yeah, it's one of those videos, like if I would have released it, would have got like 1,000 views. So those are the kind of videos that go into the members only section, unfortunately. Whitney says, recommendations for a 110-gallon corner bowl tank, 3 feet wide. I saw this question on Aquarium Co-op, and I was like, man, that is a weird size tank. 110-gallon corner, just a corner tank, 3 feet wide, 2 feet. Some fish I like are discus, angelfish, and betta, not together. Well, I would do discus or angelfish. I would not do both. I know there's a lot of people keeping both. Hey, I know there's a lot of people, like you can go on YouTube and find people keeping angels and discus together. The problem with angels, when you keep angels at the temperatures that discus are at, they think it's breeding time. So they can get a little more feisty. And this is why I think angels get a bad rap, is because people keep them too hot. But if you're keeping angels at discus temperature, they're always going to be feisty. They're always going to be angry. And that's going to present a problem. I guess I shouldn't say always, but I would say like a majority of the time. So both of those, discus or angelfish, would be amazing in that tank, but not both. So I would find which one of those you like and then try to accent the tank and other tank mates around that. So whether it's angels or discus, you got like, I guess that would be like your show, your centerpiece fish. And then, you know, find a good bottom dweller, like maybe some Corridora sterbies. Those are a really nice Corridora. They're everywhere. They're probably a little bit more on the expensive side as far as Corridoras, but they're really awesome. You can get a school of those going in there. You can get like a, you know, find a nice Tetra that you like and throw about 12 of those in there. And then I'll probably round it out with some sort of, I don't like using the term cleanup crew, because nothing is really cleaning anything, but find yourself like a good algae eater or like a Pandagara. Pandagaras are insanely underrated, super awesome fish. Or a bristlenose pleco, you know, something that'll just help keep the algae at bay. Maybe a couple nearite snails would be fun, some Amano shrimp. But if you do shrimp, they're going to get picked off by the angels, so just be aware. It's not like they're going to hunt them down and kill them, but if an angel just decides one day I want to eat a shrimp, it's going to eat a shrimp. Do a rainbow of rainbows. Do rainbows. Yeah. Oh, we can't get Rapashi where I am in Australia. I know nothing about Australia other than the fact that I want to go one of these days. That's all I know about Australia. And basically everything I've learned about Australia, I've learned from Crocodile Dundee. So hopefully that movie is accurate. I think if Bob Steenfott here is selling shrimp, get them from him. I don't think I have any shrimp for sale right now. I probably need to work on that. Pandagara Express. Yeah, so last week I ordered 24 Pandagaras and the bag came in crushed. So yeah, I did not get Pandagaras. That's one of the, oh man, I don't want to rant about that either. It was their fault. The shipper made a mistake, but mistakes happen. And you can't really, I don't know. It's one of those things, like it was their fault, but you can't really fault them. Like it was unfortunate that it happened kind of thing. But man, I really wanted to get some Pandagaras because I was going to sell them pretty cheap just to get them out there. And yeah. And then of course, I emailed back. Of course, when I emailed them and showed them the picture of the bag and everything, I was like, they looked really good. Like they were dead, but as far as like, you know, what kind of condition they were in, like they were fat, you can tell that they were taken care of. And so I was like, I will buy 100 more right now. Like you can credit me the 24 or whatever, but I'll take 100 more in addition to that. And they're like, we're sold out. And I was like, I love you guys don't understand how much I love Panagaras. Jess Phillips with the $5 super chat says, I have 2 blood parrot fish on the way via mail. Can you give me your advice on best care tips for them? Will a 29-gallon be okay? So, man, I feel like you just wasted $5. I have never kept blood parrots, and I probably never will. So that is a fish that I've never really been interested in and have talked poorly about for the last 4 years on YouTube. So now I feel bad, but each their own. We don't all have to like the same fish. But that being said, since I've never been interested in keeping them, I've never really researched them. They're a fairly easy fish to keep, though. It's not like they're a difficult fish. I call them hillbilly goldfish. So, oh man. Jeez, and you just became a member, and now you're gonna cancel that membership. But as far as I've literally spent 0 time researching that fish. Never kept him. I've seen them in planted tanks. That doesn't mean that they'll do well in planted tanks. Hopefully, somebody in the chat here has experience with them, and we can get something going, some kind of advice for you. So if you are keeping parrotfish, if you're keeping them planted, please let us know. Please give us some tips. $2 super chat from Priscilla says, thanks. I don't know what for, but you're welcome. Whitney says, what websites online do you recommend buying fish from? My LFS keeps nothing in stock. Hey, that sounds like my website. Nothing is in stock. It's not true. I actually have a lot of fish in stock. I have a ton of fish. I'm just not shipping right now. I would do like Get Gills, Aquabid, but you got to remember at getgills.com, at aquabid.com, these are websites that you're buying from people, not from businesses. If you want to buy from a business, you would go to like aquahuna.com. Outside of there, I have no experiences with other like companies. Like I've never bought from Live Aquaria because they're insanely expensive. I've never bought from Live Fish Direct because I've never needed to. So I don't really have any knowledge. Like I don't want to give recommendations from buying from places I've never bought from. I bought on Get Gills. I bought on Aquabid. Just remember, the thing about Aquabid is that there's a lot of international sellers, so it's easy to like miss something and buy something like from Thailand, and you're like, how am I going to get this fish from Thailand to me alive? So pay attention. Make sure you're buying something from the U.S. I mean, you can get a transshipper and go through all that mess, but let's be honest, that's a mess. I'm not a fan of parrotfish, but I did just see tiger parrots, and they look pretty cool. See, anything with tiger in the name, and I'm already like, okay, that could be pretty cool. I think they are pretty cool. I think they're adorable. So I definitely get that. They're like one of those fish that are so ugly, they're actually cool looking. But I don't know. I'm just it's that type of fish, like the bigger Central South American cichlid fish that I've yet to like. What am I trying to say? I've kept them. I've kept Cryptoherus murnae. I've kept Honduras, like true Honduran red points, but those are still like pretty small. I mean, let's be honest. Those are only like 4-inch fish, maybe 5-inch, but they're fat. They're chunky. Yeah, so it's just like that type of fish hasn't interested me yet. And I used to say I'll never keep that fish, but I've said that in the past. Like I've said, I'm never getting a betta fish, and then I bought like 30 of them. And then I said, I'm never getting goldfish, and then I bought like 50 of them. So I don't want to ever say never. Maybe someday I'll like them, research them, and buy them. You never know. But as of right now, no. Anyone keep wolf cichlids? See, that's another one. Not for me. I got my new veil-tail betta. He is orange and white with blue sheen on the white. He is really pretty. I shared a video on YouTube about him. It says, Katie's living the dream. Oh, not almost anymore. You are living it. All right. I bought from LRB Aquatics several times. Never a problem. That would be one. Like if you're looking for rainbows, that would be, I believe, most of his stuff he breeds himself, right? I haven't been on his website in probably like 3-4 months, so I don't want to like say anything wrong. But he is a good shipper. He's shipped me shrimp multiple times. Not any problems. Eric says, trying to catch a neon tetra that jumped into the filter chamber of my fluval spec. How fun. New level of eye twitching frustration. That's like me. The one time I had a saltwater tank, it was the 29-gallon BioCube, and I had a firefish. And this thing jumped in the back filtration every single day. And I had to buy a specialized net. Not that it was specialized. I didn't like have a custom made net built, but I did have to actually look out for and search out a net that would actually fit in the back chamber to get it out. And then he just kept going and going back there. I couldn't find a way to stop him from going back there. And finally I was like, screw it. I'm not going to stop you. If you want to go back there, you can just live back there. And that's where he lived until I tore down that tank. Oh, what did I do? I think I took everything into my local LFS and got my in-store credit. Jess says, I have turquoise rainbows in my 65-gallon. Would parrots be safe with them? I would think so. As long as they're not like fry. If they're like, adult turquoise rainbows, they should handle parrots just fine. I don't believe that parrots are one of those fish like a lot of the central South American cichlids, the bigger ones that will just actively try to kill everything, like a flower horn. Have you ever had a flower horn? I have not had a flower horn. I think flower horns are kind of ugly. That's just my personal opinion. You can like them, I cannot like them, and we can still be friends. I have a royal grammar living in a sump for 3 months now. His sump now. Yeah. There was one time, what fish was it? So I have a 75-gallon with an overflow, and somehow I want to say dwarf chain loaches, but I don't think that's right. Got into the overflow and down into the sump, and it was one of these ones that like it goes down and then it comes back up and then into the overflow, and then the top is like sealed off except for the little round holes for your intake. And I was like, yep, those fish are never coming out of there. There's literally no way to get them out of there. And that's where they lived. And I had to start dumping food into the overflow just so the other fish wouldn't eat it, and then it would drain down into those fish. It was very annoying. Not my best fish keeping experience. Whitney says, I used to think flower horns were ugly, but now I'm getting past that into how they interact with their humans. Yes, but I think like if I wanted a fish that interacted, like I think the green terror looks way better than any flower horn. Like a good quality green terror, like I would rather get that than a flower horn. But having the fish they interact, I mean, you get a goldfish to do that. But hey, we all like different fish for different reasons. We can still be friends. We're all in this hobby together. All my monos live in the filter chamber, their choice. That's probably extremely safe and probably a lot of food for them in there. My rubber lip pleco keeps dying. Any ideas why? I'm on my third grant. So rubber lip plecos do actually like colder temperatures, whereas a lot of plecos like hotter temperatures. Rubber lip is a few that like cooler, like 75, 74. And as with any pleco, you really have to make sure they're getting fed. That's one of the big thing with plecos. A lot of people, they just throw in their food. I'm not saying you're doing this, but a lot of people put in the food and they're like, oh, that's why I don't like the term cleanup crew. They're like, any flake that makes it to the bottom, they'll just eat. Well, a lot of us are not feeding enough to have flakes go to the bottom. So they end up with no food. So I would say, how are their bellies? Are they fat? Do they look skinny? If they're skinny, they're not eating. And then check the temperature as well. Steenfott Aquatics, do you think cories can breed out in the tank with neocardinia shrimp, or will the shrimp eat the cory eggs? I think that is doable. I am actually going to be breeding Corydoras very soon, and I'm going to be colony breeding them with another species of fish, all in the same tank. Not shrimp, but we'll see how well that works. It's just an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm pretty confident that it's going to work, but we'll see. But I think that you can do, well, I should say, what kind of shrimp? Neocaridina? I think it should be all right, especially considering Corys, when they spawn, they drop hundreds of eggs. So if they pick off a few, what's the worst? You still have 150 left. Kitty says, okay, I have to go to bed now or I'll never get up in time for work. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the $1 super chat. I appreciate it. If someone tries to burgle my house, I can throw my flower horn at them. They'll lose a finger. That's true. That is true. Scott's Aquatic, what's up, buddy? Some plecos are just too shy to compete for food. Yeah, I mean, that rubber lips are pretty outgoing, though. My rubber lip pleco was one of the few species that were always out. And, you know, there's different species of rubber lip plecos, and maybe I just had the boisterous species. I don't know. Danny is breeding Corys. Yes, we do have Cory Dora Fry in the 300 gallon. So I know it works because there's rainbows in that tank as well. Pretty awesome. Although, I don't know about you, Danny, but I got frost last night. So it's pretty dang close to bringing the tubs inside. I think you're a little higher elevation than me. So I would think if I got it, you probably got it too. Our local aquarium society said you are now part of DFS if you lost any fish, Dead Fish Society. I would like to meet one person that says they've never killed a fish, just so I can call them a liar. My PS Luminatus are out in the tubs right now, sitting low 60s. Yeah, mine have still not gone below 60, but there was a little frost in the air at around midnight last night. I can't keep bristlenose plecos. Every time I try, they just fade away, won't eat. I heard that they are easy, but I just can't do it. Any reasons why they would do this? Again, it's got to be food. Bristlenose plecos are some of the hardiest. Well, I mean, there is something to say about where you're getting it. Again, if you're getting a bristlenose pleco from like Petco or PetSmart, it's pretty questionable. But when you're talking about like any plecostomus, it usually comes down to food. They'll always do better in a what is it? What was that acronym that everyone was spamming earlier? In a seasoned tank. They'll always do better in a seasoned tank than a new tank. There's two types of fish that I just won't throw into a new setup, and that's plecos, which includes autos. Autos is a big one. I mean, autocinklus is a pleco, but I'm just throwing that in there because a lot of people separate the two. So plecos and shrimp. I always try to do seasoned tanks for plecos and shrimp, just to make it easier on me. It can be done, but then you have to specifically make sure that they're eating, and especially with something like bristlenose plecos, it's an algae eater. If you're in a brand new tank, you don't have any algae. What's it going to eat? You really got to make sure they're eating. Not insulating the tub. I don't think I have time to insulate the tubs. I'm going out of town this week, and it's supposed to get pretty cold this week, so I don't know. I honestly, I have to decide tomorrow. So tomorrow I either got to insulate my tubs or break them down, and I won't know until tomorrow. It'll be a game time decision. I have insulation. I could do that, but at the same time, I have very expensive rainbow fish outside, and do I want to risk that while I'm out of town? If I was home, it wouldn't be a problem because I could just monitor them, but I'm going to be out of town. Mike says my bristlenose would survive a nuclear apocalypse. Last fish I'd ever worry about at this point. And that's the way it should be. Like, they're pretty bulletproof. Them and roaches be the only thing to survive a nuclear holocaust. Local breeders, and I always had cucumbers and wafers in the tanks for them. I don't know. I would say at this point, I mean, I'm not trying to like harp on your local breeder, but something is not going right. Either the local breeder may be doing something to their water that you don't have in your water. I mean, I know it's like not likely at all, but it's a possibility. Maybe try from a different source. That at this point, if I kept buying fish from one place and they kept dying, local breeder or not, I would go somewhere else. They could be if I go to Corey's house and I keep buying fish and they keep dying, Corey's a good friend of mine, but I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna go buy from someone else because your fish keep dying. You know what I mean? So I would probably, if you're on your third one, I would try somewhere else. Eric says parrots are pretty big. 29 gallons may be a little too tight for him. Oh, I guess I never answered that part. I would not keep parrots in a 29 gallon long term, but I think you said you had a 65 gallon. Why do plecos like zucchini so much? Why don't you like zucchini so much? Fish like food. You know, I don't know. Jeez. My dad was impatient about moving tub fish to the new tank. I said when the bucket temp matches the tank temp, you're allowed to pour it in. There you go. Our non-heated tanks, as long as they not a huge jump from current to non-heated, should be okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, if it's like anything inside 5 degrees, I have no problem doing it. No problem. I just told my husband loudly to feed his fish when I meant to say feed your dogs. Feed your dogs. I added spiderwood to my planted tank. Within 6 hours, all my fish died. Snails followed. Do I need to replace all the substrate Eco Complete, or can I be salvaged with a water change at this time? I would definitely take that wood out, but I would maybe examine it. When you added the wood, did you do a water change? Was this maybe something, like I said, sometimes water companies just dump chlorine way more than they're supposed to in the water. So if you did a water change, I wouldn't necessarily, at the same time, I wouldn't say it was the wood like 100%. But I would probably take the wood out. I would do a huge water change. Like, obviously, it would be impossible to do 100%, but I would get as much as I could and then start over. I wouldn't go crazy with the hydrogen peroxide or the bleach. I would just do a huge water change and then wait. I would honestly probably wait like a month. And then I would add something. What would I add? If I added a piece of wood, then clearly, not even wood. If something happened where a toxic situation like that, I definitely wouldn't. If it was Eco Complete, I mean, that's too expensive. I wouldn't replace that. I would do a water change. And I would probably wait like a month, and then I would add maybe some feeder, like go to like a Petco or something and add some feeder white clouds, and see how well that does. And if they do okay, then I know we're pretty much safe to move forward. What's a good substrate for bristlenose plecos? Oh, they don't care. Gravel, sand, bare bottom, they really don't care. Anything is good for bristlenose plecos. Chevy Fish linking my car channel. Yes, I just hit 150 subscriber milestone on my car channel. Pretty excited about that, not gonna lie. If I have chlorine in my water, what would you recommend on cleaning that out? Would you just leave it out for a while and get rid of it, or I always use dechlorinator, Whitney. I would always. I mean, you could buy like a 55 gallon tub. You can get those like food grade 55 gallon barrels for like $20-$30 on eBay, or not eBay, but like OfferUp. And you could fill that up if you wanted to, pre-treat your water, and then you could just add an air stone and it'll gas off in like 24 hours. And then you could use that water for your water change. But you could do what 99% of the people in the hobby do and just use dechlorinator when you're filling your water back up. So that's what I do. Oh, is Rio here? No, Rio's a celebrity. He wouldn't be here. Oh, Rio is here. What's up, buddy? BJ Palmer says, hi, Rio. Love your channel. What's not to love? I want to go over there sometime and go to all those fish stores with you at some point. At some point in my life, if you would take me. Congratulations on your 150 pineapple milestone. Yeah. Oh, man. In that first video, I even said the wrong name of the channel. We're real professional over here. T-Bone says, I have 10 tiger barbs, 10 green moss barbs. I don't know what that is. 10 golden tiger barbs in a 34 gallon. So basically, you have 30 tiger barbs, I'm assuming, in a 34 gallon. So 150-gallon tank, you should be able to put like 80 plus in your tank. I mean, T-Bone, it just comes down to water changes. In 150 gallon, you could put 150 tiger barbs in there if you want to do the maintenance. So the less amount of fish you have, the less amount of water changes you need. So just think about it like that. If you want to overstock it, that just means you're gonna have to do more work, more water changes. Your son lives in Japan. I want to go to Japan so bad. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Thailand. There's this place that I forgot the name of in Thailand where you can get like bungalows on the beach for like $10 a night. It's crazy. And it's a really nice beach. You guys like my invisible water? It's invisible. Dale says, same township, same water source, and I've tried like 6 different breeders, and last time I tried, I was like on my 10th pair. I've tried lots of different fish, not just BN. So are you saying that all the fish you get die? Or not just bristlenose, or all plecos? Grayson says, I was born in Japan. Thailand has him now. Parrots are calm until they breed. They will bite you during water changes if you get too close to their nest. But does it hurt? I've been bitten by lots of fish. I've been bitten by rainbow fish a lot. Obviously it doesn't hurt because their mouths are so small. Stupid fish. Their small mouths. Anyways. Old water good. Is old water good for plants? It just depends. It really depends on what's in your water. Just bristlenose. Okay, let me read this again. Just bristlenose. I guess have you tried veggies? Have you tried cucumbers? You might have already answered this. Cucumbers, zucchini. Like, I don't know what's going on. But if you're on your 10th try, it's probably just time to give up. I mean, let's be honest. Oh, you've bred lots of different fish, just not bristlenose. Yeah, I don't know. They obviously do not like something about your water. So I think at that point, I would probably move on to the next pleco and try to breed something else. I mean, I wish I had some magical answer for you, but there's so many different things that it could be. And if you've already tried that many times from different breeders and different sources, I just don't think it's in the cards for you, buddy. I hate to say it. Thailand is a good cheap holiday, especially with airfare right now being so cheap. So cheap. Do beta and neons need a when my water stains around 74 need what? Grant, I don't know what you're asking. That was a very confusing sentence for me. I apologize. How do I teach my bristlenose that veggies are food? I got it as an adult. Well, they should just know that, but you could try not feeding them for a couple days and then dropping in some zucchini or cucumbers again. And if they're hungry enough, they'll search it out. There's always that fine line of how long do you want to starve them before you're going to cause damage, though. So be careful. I'd probably just go like maybe 3 days and then drop in some veggies. Do my bettas and neons need a heater when my water stays around 74 in the winter? Well, do they need it? I personally like to heat my betta tanks. They are a tropical fish. Your neons can do just fine in 74. But bettas, I figure why stress them? You know, a little heater is like 10, 15 bucks. I mean, why not make your fish happy for a couple dollars? Chevy Fish says, I went to PetSmart yesterday and all their fish in every tank died overnight. Girl said water tested great. I told her about municipality adding extra stuff to the water. They are still testing. Yep. And I had that, I had my buddy send me a picture a couple weeks ago where every single fish tank at PetSmart was turned off and they weren't selling any fish. Could have been the same thing. Normally you can smell it though. Like if you're taking a shower and you're like, man, it smells like chlorine in here. You probably shouldn't do a water change. My dogs are dreaming. Do you name your fish? Grayson, I've had terrible luck naming my fish. I got I got two bucket list fish in the last week. 2 fish that I've wanted for a very long time, and I'm very hesitant on naming fish. So Little Steen is my Mabu puffer. It is the only animal I've ever named outside of dogs. So fish and reptiles, it's the only animal I've ever named and not have it die. So my luck with naming fish or even reptiles, I don't name them anymore. So that's my thoughts on naming fish. I got these two new fish that I haven't shown yet, so I'm not saying what they are. You'll have to wait for the clickbait title and thumbnail, and then you'll see what they are. But I have no plans on naming them at all. Seriously, I don't think there's, in the 4 or 5 years now I've been on YouTube, every single animal I've named outside of my Mabu puffer has died. And Candy says, what about Trixie? Trixie the Tegu is gone. I mentioned at the beginning of my stream that I lost an animal a couple days ago. That was my Tegu. I did lose my Tegu. Still don't really want to talk about it, so I'm not going to. She probably told you the water was okay, but not like they tell you. Yeah. So okay, I'm back. Michael Wall says, she probably told you all the water was okay, but it's not like they tell you that they have bad water or a bunch of sick fish in the same water system. You got to remember, though, like if they're doing the liquid nitrate test, that people like to harsh on the Tetra test strips. Oh, they're so inaccurate. But that nitrate test from API, the liquid nitrate test, has so many false readings because people don't do the test right. It's ridiculous. And it's not a knock on the people for not doing the test right, but I just don't, people don't realize like how much you have to shake that vial and for how long. It is insane. I think it says to shake it for like 10 seconds, or maybe it's even longer. It's like a minute, and you have to shake it like vigorous, like a paint shaker. It's crazy. You see it all the time. People say, "Oh, my nitrates, I tested it and it says 0." Well, keep shaking the vial. Eventually, it won't say 0. My male cockatoides gets decent size. Borellii are a bit harder to find for me, so probably have to order online. Not a problem. Ooh, what are we talking about? If we're talking about apistos, I want to be on the apisto train. I can't find your comment though. I cannot find it. Nope. I don't see it. Anyways, apistos, amazing. I got an adult pair. Wait, did I get a video? I might have gotten a video. I think I took a video before my stream. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, look at these guys. I don't know if that's gonna. Oh man, they're in a planet tank, so you can't see them. But there's the female. This looks terrible. And there's the male. Look at those guys. They look so good. Woo, even with the green screen. I'm like trying to move the camera to show where the fish are going. That's not going to work. Idiot. Actually, I think that's in my YouTube stories. Is that where I posted? I posted it somewhere. It's either on Instagram or my YouTube stories. Let's look. There is no YouTube story on desktop. Amazing. Let me look at mobile, so you guys can actually get a video, see a video of these guys. Nope. Dang it. Okay, never mind. I haven't posted that video anywhere. It'll be posted on YouTube stories in like a day or two. Regina says, I love apistos. I love them. They are probably my second favorite fish. No, that would be my third. Fourth? Okay, they're top 5. They're definitely a top 5 fish. Definitely. Do you get anything cool if you mix the white cloud varieties and breed them? You know, that is a question that I've been wondering for a long time. But I'm not much of a genetics person. I learned something crazy today because I am in a few, classes. But I'm going to dumb this down because I'm a dummy. So as long as I'm trying to dumb it down for you guys, I'm dumbing it down because I'm a dummy. But this is totally off topic, nothing to do with fish. But I learned about this salamander today that is unisexual, so it's only females, right? And they carry, I'm going to ruin everything about this, but they carry like the genetic makeup of up to 5 different salamanders. So where this salamander is found, there's 5 other species. And the salamander only gives birth to females, but they still mate with males of the other species. And then this female, when it gives birth, can somehow give birth to any one of these 5 different species and have the genetic makeup not be a mix of both of their DNA. I think I said that right, but I might not have. Basically, there's a salamander that at any point could give birth to 5 different species of salamanders without mixing their DNA or DNA. Is that insane? That's insane. And that I was listening to a lecture from a college professor. So it has to be true. I don't know. It goes against, and they even talk about this in the lecture. Like, this goes against everything you're ever taught about genetics and DNA. It's just this one salamander is able to do this. And it's crazy. And I don't remember the specific type of salamander because my memory's shot. But so I have to write everything down. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And it actually, like, it somehow stores that genetic material of the other species. And so, like, even if it, like, breeds with a different male, like, the next year, it could still give birth to the salamander that it bred with the year ago. And still not be a cross. I don't know. Yeah. Nature finds a way. I mean, that is definitely some Jurassic Park type stuff right there. It's insane. But again, I'm a dummy and I could just not be like interpreting that correctly, but I mean, that's what they said. So are you shaking your leg? No. My monitor stand's not very, it might be my dogs. If my dogs are laying on the desk, like spoke stand leg things, it could be one of my dogs. She is a surrogate. I don't know if anyone ever has heard of that. I don't know, maybe Chevy Fish or man, who's the other person in here? I feel like that's something Chevy Fish would know, but maybe not. I mean, I've been into reptiles and amphibians my entire life, and I've never heard of such a thing. But this is all like research that they've done in the last couple of years, so it makes sense. Don't cats do something similar? I have no idea. No idea. Is she a surrogate? Yep. Anyways, I thought that was crazy. And the professor that gave the lecture, I actually reached out to see if maybe she would come on a live stream. I know it's not fish related, but I feel like that would be insanely awesome to learn about. So we'll see. I doubt it. I'm just a nobody, but you know, we'll figure it out. See something. Is Tetra Pleco wafers a diet for plecos with weekly is so Grant, I'm not a fan of the Tetra Pleco wafers. Simply, if you're talking about like the brown wafer with the green hole in the middle, I have never had a fish eat those ever. Grant, I've only tried it twice, and they could have been stale both times or bad, something wrong with them. But I've never had a fish eat those ever, so I don't like them because my fish don't like them. But again, like I said, I've only gotten them twice ever. BJ Palmer says amphibians can do some weird stuff, and they find out more and more like on a monthly basis with amphibians. Like, what else did I learn? Like, there's like species that like glow in the dark. There's like some salamanders that glow in the dark. That's pretty crazy. That's crazy. Ever kept morning geckos? They are parthenogenetic. I've never kept morning geckos because they're just a little too small for me, and that means when I say that, like, they're super awesome. I believe they're and also another species that's like all female. But they're too small. My local reptile store has them, and every time I go in there, I'm like, where are they? I don't see them anywhere. And they keep them in 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra tanks, and I still never see them, ever. So, I don't know. Maybe 20 years ago when I could still see, maybe I'd have some morning geckos, but they're a really cool gecko to keep with dart frogs too. But I feel like I would just never see them. Like, worse than plecos. Far worse than plecos. Regina, welcome to the Dream Team. Whew. Boy. I'm going to tell you, like, secretly, I wanted to hit 125 tonight. I didn't think that we were even going to make it, but that's like 2 away. That's crazy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Be sure to definitely check out the last 2 members-only videos because I think they're really good. I use Akari algae wafers, and my plecos, cats, and guppies love them. Akari, yeah. To me, Akari is like the McDonald's of fish food. It's pretty good. You could live off it, but if that's the only thing you eat, then you're going to have some problems later in life. But there's like the Viber bites. I do like that, even though the ingredients are, like I said, who doesn't enjoy a chicken McNugget every once in a while, right? All right. Steenfott Aquatics, I'm losing 1 guppy every second. Oh, every second week. Okay. That's like every second. 6 orange glow light tetras, 3 Borneo suckerfish, maybe? 5 coolie loach are all fine. Water okay, 90 gallon planted tank. What's wrong? So the only thing I can think of if you're talking about guppy death is maybe your water is not hard enough. So they really love hard water. Live bears like high pH and hard water, lots of calcium, things like that. It could be something as simple as changing to a high calcium diet. You'll find like you'll get a lot of genetic bone disease with guppies if you don't have the minerals and the calcium. So yeah, maybe try a different diet, test your water, and maybe add some crushed coral, oyster shells, anything like that that's going to give you some extra calcium. And okay, here we go. Someone's asking a question that I have not been wanting to answer. And here it is. The Crazy Nut 01 says, extreme wafers any good? So my thoughts on extreme food. I resisted extreme food for so long because I'm like, it's just the flavor of the month. Every like 6 months or so, there's some new superfood that's super awesome and everybody loves it. And then in 6 months, here's another new food that's now this is the best. And so I avoided extreme for a long time. And then when I finally got some, and this is a little caveat, I did get it for free to try out. It was amazing. So I haven't tried the wafers, but I've got tried now a couple different types of flake and a couple different types of pellets. And this food, like, I don't know that I will ever feed anything else again. And I specifically have not wanted to talk about it because I don't want to be like that guy. Like, you sent it to me for free, and now I'm sitting here and telling you how amazing this food is. Like, I didn't want to, like, I don't know. To me, that's like, whoa, what a sellout. No, it's really, really, really good food. I've thrown away all my Tetra granules, like all my bug bites. I still have my fluval bug bites, but I don't even use them anymore. They're going to go stale. Like this, I don't know what it is about this food, but the fish go crazy. Um, it smells like really good for fish food. For fish food, mind you, for fish food. However, like bug bites is still a good food. The thing I don't like about bug bites though is that it's really hard. That's like super hard. Even if you try to like crush it up, like you legit need like a pepper grinder or something. And the thing I love about krill extreme is that it's soft. It's super soft. So I know that it's going to be really palatable, especially when it comes to fish like rainbow fish. Like when I feed bug bites to rainbow fish, I'm always paranoid that they're going to choke to death. They're going to get one piece that's too big. It's super hard. It's going to take hours for that food to absorb water to where it can pass it through its throat. I'm always paranoid. And the thing I like about extreme, and maybe it's a bad thing that it's that soft, but to me, I love everything about it. And yeah, it's not like some sales pitch. You know, I don't make any money off of it, but it's pretty awesome food. Pretty awesome food. I wish that you could get like the extreme pellets where the first ingredient is soldier fly larva. I really, really like soldier fly larva, and that's why I still keep my bug bites around. Like the Tetra food, I threw away. I threw away all my Aquarium food except for the bug bites, and now I just use extreme. Now I'm one of those guys that it's peddling the flavor of the month. But I feel like it's been around long enough that hopefully it's not, but it is still pretty good. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I do love extreme. And Celine has become a member of the Dream Team, and David, thank you very much. This is I don't know, any restock updates. So S I'm like 99% convinced to not ship fish for the rest of the year. Why? Even my Amazon Prime packages, some of them are taking up to 5 days. I can't afford to ship FedEx, or I'll never ship UPS. FedEx, I don't ship enough to get a good discount. And I don't know that there's a lot of people that willing to pay FedEx prices if I was to even offer FedEx shipping. USPS has been really good to me for the last year, except now, I mean, the entire West Coast is on fire. So the person I get my rainbows from is in California, on fire. My state, Washington, on fire. Oregon, on fire. It's causing a lot of supply chain issues. Packages are taking forever. On top of that, you know, without getting political, there's all this talk about mail-in ballots and how, I mean, that's going to add even more mail to go through, through the post office. So that's going to create more backup. So if they start doing mail-in ballots, that's just going to create another headache. By the time, I think there's already people mailing in ballots. So that's already happening. The election's not over till the first week of November. By then, it's going to be too cold to ship. So it's like, there's hurricanes, there's fire tornadoes. Like, everything is like, and here's the real problem. I don't ship enough in general that if I lose a package, that's a pretty big deal. Like, I'm not a Dan's Fish. I don't do that kind of volume. If, I ship like 10 packages a week, if one of them gets lost and it's rainbow fish of all things, the whole week is shot. Like, then I'm just in a bad mood. I've just lost a ton of money. I got to reship it. And if something happens to the reship, then I'm really not going to be having a good day. So, I'm like this close to saying no more shipping for the rest of the year. I don't know. I haven't ruled it out. I still have fish. I want to sell. I want to make money. But at the same time, it's like, do I want to make a couple extra $100 a week and possibly kill fish? Probably not worth it. So, I don't know. Trust me, I think about it every single day. I've had people that have ordered that bought fish like a month ago, and I haven't been able to send it out because it's like you spent like $100 and some on rainbow fish. The last thing I want to do is ship this and have it stuck in the mail and have them die, and I don't know. It's just, it sucks. Talk about the perfect timing to open a fish business. 2020. Well, I mean, I guess technically I opened it last. So let's see. I opened my fish shipping business in the winter. That's pretty genius. Then 2020 happens, and let's just be real. Like this year, we're just gonna cross this year off. This is not even a count. This is gonna be an asterisk. When we look back at the almanac, this year is just gonna be a giant asterisk. We're gonna scratch it out, and just hope the next year's better at this point. I mean, to be fair, it's been a pretty good year outside of that, though, so I can't really complain. I mean, it's just when it comes to like shipping fish and that aspect, like I want to buy fish. I like buying fish. It's fun. It's exciting. I like selling fish. It's fun getting people rainbow fish. But Danny says thoughts on Omega Foods. Honestly, I don't have anything negative to say about Omega Foods except for I don't know if it's them or if it's Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's probably Amazon, but somewhere in the chain, like the prices have like gone up like 20-25% on Omega. And this happened before this year. This was like almost like 2 years ago. I used to buy like the big cans for like $8, and now they're like $12. And I'm just like, really? That's pretty substantial increase. So maybe, you know, there's probably some people that you may not remember what it used to be like a couple years ago. And I understand the prices go up, but like this was a pretty insane jump. It is good food. I think the first ingredient is like salmon or something, which I don't know if I believe that, but I could be wrong. But it is some kind of whole fish, I believe, is the first ingredient, you know, in Omega. So it's not bad. It's not bad, but I don't know. It's going to be hard to get me off Extreme. It's going to be really hard to get me off that food. So far, there hasn't been a single product from Extreme that I haven't liked. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, you know, I still feed lots of frozen foods. I still really like Rapashi, especially for fry. So, you know, I'm not like throwing everything out the window. But the crap like Tetra and Hikari, that's pretty much done. Never again. What is this? I don't know. But you can see yourself out. There. Go away. Any brackish tank ideas? I would love to find a plant that does really good in brackish, but I do plan on setting up a brackish tank because I want to show how can I say this? I want to get brackish fish and do them right. Kind of like Zenzo, right? I feel like I'm sure there's other YouTubers out there, and if you're a YouTuber and you're out there and you're doing brackish tank rights, I apologize. But right now, Zenzo is the only one that comes to mind doing brackish tanks and is actually doing them right. And I would like to promote more of that. So I do want to do a brackish tank. There's some brackish fish that I want to do, like the top hat blennies. I want to get those again. They are available. Like I can buy them right now. But I'm not ready for a brackish tank yet. I'm rebuilding both of my fish rooms. I'm getting rid of my 240-gallon tank. That's going to be a gigantic project. So I've already got way too many projects going on right now to worry about a brackish tank. But I want to get the Dragon Goby again, and I want to get top hat blennies again, and I want to put them in the same tank. And I know like people have had success with some of the hardier plants, like I think someone mentioned Java Fern. I've never seen it done successfully, but we'll see. Dibs on the 240. The 240 has already been dibbed. It's already sold. I'm out of town this weekend, but probably the weekend after, it'll be gone. It'll be checking into its new home. Regina says I did brackish 150-gallon. My favorite fish of all time, archers. Well, there's a freshwater archer too. Man, Corey had those archers, and he asked if I wanted them, and I said no because I didn't have a place for them, but I wish I would have taken them because they're pretty awesome. Danny says, my fish loved omega, and it's available at my job, so I'm sticking with it. Yeah. Like I don't have anything wrong, like, with the actual food itself. It was just like 2 years ago when they were like jacking up the price. It's like out of the blue. That's my only complaint. Danny has it. Yep. Danny does life. Bought my 240 gallon, and you might be like, why would you ever get rid of a dream tank, an 8-foot 240 gallon tank? Because I'm getting a bigger tank. A bigger tank. A bigger tank that's shorter but taller and wider. So it's better suited for my puffer, essentially. Which Repashy do you use for fry, spawn, and grow? I use them all. So I actually mix them all together. I'm not gonna say them all. So I use the spawn and grow and the what's the green one? I never remember the name of the green one, and it's like the one I buy the most. Soylent Green. Those are my two favorite ones to mix. Soylent Green, spawn and grow. And then I'll usually mix in like maybe like a morning wood or something with like high protein in it, and just kind of mix them all together, and you can get some really cool smells going on in your kitchen when you start mixing Repashy. Let me tell you, like, it already smells weird enough. When you start mixing them, you can clear a house. Let me tell you. A food I would say killed my favorite fish was frozen beef heart. I probably fed it wrong, but I should have went with my gut and told the PetSmart employee no. Did you buy like the frozen, like, Akari beef heart? I think it's Akari. It might not be. It might be San Francisco, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm drinking Soylent Green right now. Basically, it's actually super greens, and it tastes like a compost pile, but it does, like, make me feel more rejuvenated after I drink it. So I sacrifice taste for benefits. I don't know. It doesn't taste good though. Anyways, wait. Connie says I missed you. What? You're fired. Holy smokes, and that was a long time ago. I apologize. I will be sure to gather the mods after the live stream and yell at them, because it's clearly their fault for not reminding me that I missed a super chat. I take no responsibility. It's the mods. I'm actually just kidding. I'm terribly sorry. Connie says I had 10 dwarf neon rainbows for my LFS, and they all just turned a dark color. Definitely stressed about something. Gasped at the surface. Quit eating and all died. Connie, I'd like to know, like, how long did this scenario take to play out? Like, they turned dark, gasped at the surface, and died within like 10 minutes, or was this over a couple days? My guess is it had something to do with water change, but we'll see. I'm curious what your answer is going to be, and I am terribly sorry about missing that. $5 super chat. Thank you. And hello, yeah. I have Wisteria, both planted and floating in different tanks, all thriving. That's the great thing about Wisteria. And water sprite. Dog comes running when I make it. That's how I know, like, you know you have good fish food if your dogs come running. My dog comes. Oh. Can everyone please hit the like for Bob because he's so nice? Oh. Akari wafers are really good, says Eric. My morning plecos go nuts over them. Morning plecos? Interesting. My water was good. Oh. Candy did remind me. Okay. Yeah. I'm the chucklehead then. So, the water was good. 10 dwarf neon rainbows. Was this something like you bought them at the store, brought them home, and they immediately started gasping at the surface? Like, There's a few different ways to interpret this scenario. Dark color, though, they are definitely angry. I mean, obviously, they're gasping at the surface. Oh, man. It just might be one of these things that we never know. My German Shepherd always eats the Omega-1 pellets that drop. You get some interesting fart out of your dogs when they clear through an entire can of fish food, let me tell you. Let's see. Water was good. It went on for over a month or so. Fully planted. Okay. Within a couple days. And did it happen like right from the start? Like as soon as you dropped them in, were they stressed? Where is this shop at? Do you ship to Canada? No, no one ships to Canada. It sucks, I know. I wish I could. Dog farts after eating fish food. No good. No good. 10 neon rainbows turned dark, gas to surface, quit eating, and all died. So rainbows, they can be pretty, some more so than others, but they can be pretty sensitive to osmotic shock, which you would think a local fish store and you would have the same water, but not necessarily. Not right away. All right, I feel like if it was osmotic shock, it would have been right away. I mean, well, actually within a few days. So if it was within a few days, it still could be osmotic shock. Started within a few days. So possibly. So osmotic shock is basically going from like high pH to low pH. And I've had this happen with rainbows multiple times. Especially rainbows coming from Florida, where the water is a lot harder. Now I learned this the hard way, and now I have crushed coral in all my receiving tanks. Not all. But if I get rainbow fish from Florida, I know they're going in the crushed coral tanks. And in addition to going into the crushed coral tanks, I also like just toss in a ton of salt. That's the only thing I can think of. If you had other fish in your tank that were doing just fine and nothing happened to them, that's really the only thing that makes sense to me. But it's hard for me to imagine that your local fish store would have different water parameters than you. But I mean, it is possible. But it definitely seems like a pH issue to me. I treated for everything. You've tried salt. Yeah, but so again, this is one of the things with rainbows. Like, they're very hardy fish, but when something goes wrong, it's very hard to bring them back. So like if they've already got that osmotic shock and it's been going on and you know, you add salt a couple days later, most likely it's already too late. Whereas like if you're buying like tetras and cichlids and plecos and bringing them home, probably not a big deal. There's just some rainbows, but to be honest, I've never had it happen with praecox rainbows, dwarf neon rainbows. So I've had it. This is my biggest issue I have with like pygmy rainbows, Kamaka rainbows. What other species? Those two definitely the worst. What else? I think those two just stand out the most for me. Oh man. All my tanks have crushed coral. They were the only fish. No CO2. Yeah, gassing CO2. It could definitely be that. It might be one of those things that we just never know. If you tried them again, I would only buy like a couple, obviously. It could have just been a bad batch from the local fish store. I mean, this is why, like, the easiest way to be successful with rainbow fish is to buy pure strain, like captive bred, not farm bred, not imported. Anything from a local fish store is going to be more than likely imported. or farm bred in Florida. Again, not the best. Better, farm bred is better than imported, but still. A lot of stuff that comes out of these farms, like from Indonesia and stuff, it's bad. It's really bad. So this might be one of these things you never know. You never know. Danny Does Life says, I've always learned to prep for osmotic shock. Most stores and Bob, that our stores have soft water. So you're actually the opposite, Danny. You'll never in your life have to worry about osmotic shock. It's only when you go from hard water to soft water, never the other way around. So it's basically what's happening is that, like, this is going to be a really dumbed down explanation of what's going on because I'm a dummy. But when you have these fish that are living in hard water with tons of minerals and you dump them into soft water with no minerals, their kidneys just go crazy. You're lacking all these minerals, and their kidneys just shut down is basically what happens. When you go from soft water to hard water, the kidneys are not going to shut down because you're adding more minerals. So yeah, it's only one way. It's only from hard to soft, not soft to hard. Thank you so much for your time and effort. You rock. Yeah, it's, one of the hardest things about this hobby is coming to terms with never knowing. Especially if it's like a whole tank and it crashes and everything dies, something happened. It's very easy to figure out exactly what happened. But when it's just one fish or, one type of fish, that's very hard to like try to diagnose and figure out. And I kind of went through this, but not really, a couple days ago. And it's just like, you got to accept it. Like, you got to accept that you're just not going to know. Danny says, I have soft water, but a great fish store about 20 miles away from me has excellent fish with hard water. I have to drip acclimate them. Yep. Absolutely. It's the way to do it. Some needs to jump on the post Steenfott time slot. Yeah, I guess it is that time. I don't know of anyone who's streaming after me, just like last week, but maybe there is. If there is, I don't know. We got a lot of people to thank tonight. UPSer, Fish Tank Barn, Eric, Matthew Vargas, I guess, Whitney again, Bob Kaler with a $2 super chat, Jess Phillips, and Whitney, David, Connie, and Simply S. Thank you for the super chats. And then got a lot of new members tonight. Josh, Cheryl, Kim, Connie, Fishy Philosophy, Jess, David, Audrey, and Regina, and Celine, and David. I don't know how many that is, but that's way more than average. I appreciate it. I cannot go an extra hour. This week is insanely busy for me since I am leaving town. So much stuff to do. But I want to thank everyone for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. This was a quick 2 hours. Thanks to all the mods. Thanks to all the subscribers, all the lurkers. You're all very important to me, and I appreciate you all coming out and hanging out for 2 hours. And we will be back next Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Again, I don't know if anyone is going behind me, but so I got nothing for you. But I hope you enjoyed the stream.